Do you recall how, at the beginning, we wondered why the hidden soldiers chose to conceal the truth about the Earth? If it were truly flat and not spherical, why then deceive us and distort humanity's understanding of the cosmos? We said there were two reasons. The first, to plunder the wealth of nations under the pretext of funding space programs. The second, and far more crucial, we postpone until now. Well, the time has come. If you have followed the chapters of this book from the outset, it might appear as though it revolves solely around the question of the Earth, an attempt to prove it flat and not spherical. Yet I never approached it from so narrow a perspective, grave as it may be. My aim has always been broader, deeper. The matter of the Earth, its shape and its truth, is but one link in a vast chain of deception, whose purpose is older and far more profound than it outwardly seems. It is, in essence, a potent narcotic that has plunged the majority of humanity into a deep slumber. They strive to convince us that we inhabit a sphere born of a cosmic explosion, drifting aimlessly in a void. They strive to convince us that we evolved from bacteria to bony fish, then amphibians, then apes, and finally into the rational, thinking human being. They strive to convince us that we are minuscule, insignificant, unworthy of the divine honor bestowed upon us by God. But where is God in their reckoning if everything in their claim is but accident? And who are they? Who are those who veiled from us the Son of Truth, and why? How did they orchestrate a plan spanning centuries? Are they immortal beings? Of course not. Yet the head that drives them, pulling invisible strings, is immortal in this worldly life. The head of a creature that harbors absolute hatred for humankind, that scorns our worth, and vowed to lure and misguide us, so that we might stray from the straight path and be lost in labyrinths of lies and deception. Through the passing of ages, he gathered a mighty host of humans who chose to follow him, becoming his soldiers, the very hands executing his schemes. They even worshipped him, lured by promises of his false paradise, seduced by hopes and dreams that were nothing but delusion. Thus, they sought to persuade us that everything came by chance, a strange chance believed only by minds lulled into the satanic matrix. But God's matrix is this worldly life itself, a realm of trial. Within it, Satan built his counterfeit matrix, a cunning snare into which many fell, though some escaped. Yet God's matrix is truth, for the Creator fashions reality. This world we inhabit is not illusion, nor does it bend to the whims of probabilities as quantum mechanics claims, nor did it arise by accident as the Big Bang Theory asserts, nor did humanity ascend through some biological ladder as the theory of evolution insists. Rather, mankind was created in the finest form, endowed with great dignity in the sight of God. He fashioned us with his own hands, blessed us with the gift of intellect, the religion of Allah. And who is better than Allah in ordaining religion? Breathed into us of his Spirit, and commanded the angels to bow before us. So how could Satan not despise us, he whom God has described as a manifest enemy, as clear as the very sun they have hidden from most of mankind? The Son of the ultimate truth, the reality of God's existence, an existence blazing in every particle around us, radiating within hearts that see, yet unseen by blind hearts. God Almighty says, "Have they not traveled through the land so that they may have hearts by which to reason or ears by which to hear? For indeed, it is not the eyes that grow blind, but it is the hearts within the breast that grow blind." Thus, the story is ancient, beginning with Satan's challenge to God, claiming that this creature fashioned from clay was unworthy of such honor, and that he himself was superior. Yet Satan's plot was weak, for God gave him no authority over mankind. Hence he relied upon concealing the truth, plunging human minds into darkness, and cloaking falsehood in the garment of truth while veiling truth in the guise of falsehood. He then raised from among humankind his own army, who strove, and still strive, to convince us that we are utterly insignificant, mere beings sprung by chance from atomic dust. That we are minuscule creatures dwelling upon a fragile sphere adrift in an immense cosmos. His command to his followers was clear, "And I will command them, so they will surely change the creation of Allah." Thus the earth, exalted by God and fashioned in 2 full days, was reduced to a mere planet, one among billions upon billions of planets, stars, and celestial bodies. The universe was magnified to incomprehensible proportions, while God was made to appear so distant that, even when acknowledged as creator, many believed he had withdrawn his hand, leaving the cosmos to unfold by probabilities, the aberrations of relativity, and the fables of quantum mechanics. Yet Satan swore to lead mankind astray. "By your might, I will surely mislead them all, except your chosen servants among them." Thus, the saved are but a few, those whom the Almighty delivers from the grip of the accursed, a small band awakened, freed from the satanic matrix and mental programming, who set out upon a path of free thought and wisdom. And whoever has been granted wisdom has indeed been given abundant good. Therefore, those who believe in a flat earth, that it is the center of creation, are not fools or simpletons. They are minds that have broken free, or are striving to break free, from an ancient illusion, chasing every ray of light to guide them toward truth, the truth of the earth upon which we were born. These are minds alive with doubt, yet not devoid of insight and discernment, unlike the sleepers ensnared in the satanic matrix, drugged by a powerful narcotic named science, and they are the majority. To clarify, there are indeed many genuine sciences that humanity has achieved throughout history, yet false sciences abound even more. Disciplines that lead mankind into oblivion, away from reality, truth, and even history itself. Incidentally, the second part of this book, titled A Handful from the Prophet's Traces, embarks on a long journey through history, seeking to cast light upon the arts of deception and to show how Satan ensnared mankind until they placed him where only the true God belongs, while blind, deaf multitudes followed, handspan by handspan, cubit by cubit. Even if they were to enter a lizard's hole, you would follow them. Once again, though the question of the Earth's shape is significant, it is still secondary. But if you lay aside your pride and begin to accept that you have been the victim of a colossal lie, that this Earth we dwell upon is not a trivial sphere in a vast cosmos, the cave of secrets will open its gates to you. Everything will align in logical order, and it will be as though your eyes opened for the very first time to grasp why the false truths imposed upon the world never fully convinced you, though they became a great prison called the obvious. You will perceive that we have lived our lives as prisoners of Plato's cave, while beyond it lies a vast, genuine life crafted by a majestic God, who granted us a book like a user's manual, leaving neither small nor great thing uncounted. A flawless guide, untouched by falsehood before or behind, which all who tried to undermine across the ages have failed. So why not take it as our guide on this journey back from the rabbit hole, even in the matter of the Earth itself? It is worth noting that I deliberately postponed Quranic proofs of the Earth's truth until the end. Throughout the book, I cited them only when scientific reasoning stood powerless. And observe this, some claim that citing the Quran in the matter of Earth's shape is perilous, for if it were proven beyond doubt that the Earth is spherical, then, they argue, the Quran must be false. Well then, what are those who hid the sun waiting for, before presenting this definitive proof, or at least answering the questions posed by those who believe in a flat Earth, or refuting their logical arguments? Others rely on the words of exegetes who interpreted verses as alluding to a spherical Earth. They were, without question, great scholars, but in the end, they were still human, not recipients of revelation. Every man's words may be accepted or rejected. For the notion of a spherical Earth remains a dubious scientific hypothesis, whereas the current stands as a fixed certainty. To bend what is immutable in order to conform to what is doubtful, that is the peril itself. Yet I continue to remind you, I lay before you the matter in its entirety. Reflect for yourself, search for yourself, and do not forget that Quranic interpretation is a boundless ocean, though one brimming with treasures. God Almighty says, "Do not those who disbelieve see that the heavens and the earth were a joined entity, and we separated them?" This signifies that the heavens and the earth were once united, and God parted them, placing distance between them. But why was the earth singled out, if it were but one planet amid billions upon billions of others? And he says, "Race toward forgiveness from your Lord in a garden as wide as the heavens and the earth." Imagine being inside a covered sports hall, with a ball placed at the center of the court, and then declaring that you possess a house whose breadth equals that of both the ball and the roof of the hall. Does such a statement bear any logic? What is logical is to compare like with like. My house is as wide as the court and the roof. Moreover, a ball in mathematics has volume, surface area, circumference, and diameter, but no length or breadth. Consider also his words, "And it is he who spread out the earth and placed within it firm mountains and rivers." And do they not see that we come to the earth, diminishing it from its edges? A sphere is not described with terms such as spread out or edges, for it possesses none. The language of expansion or diminution is employed with surfaces that are level. And he says, "And he cast into the earth firmly set mountains, lest it sway with you, and rivers and pathways that you might be guided." Have you ever contemplated the word tamid, sway? Made is the leaning from side to side. It is said, "The ship swayed. It tilted and pitched with its passengers." But have you ever seen a ball sway? A ball, when it moves, rotates. What sways is a flat surface. And if we indeed dwelt upon a sphere, how then could God command us to turn our faces toward the sacred mosque? So turn your face toward Al-Masjid Al-Haram, and wherever you are, turn your faces toward it. What sacred mosque do Muslims in the United States face? Even Muslims in Egypt, mere steps from Mecca, will be gazing into empty space were we living upon a globe. Likewise, consider the hadith of Al-Izr unanimously accepted. Al-Abar narrated from Qatada that the Messenger of God said, "Al-Bayt al-Mamr is a mosque in heaven directly above the Kaaba. Were it to fall, it would fall upon it." How could it be directly above the Kaaba if the earth were a spinning globe? Moreover, God informed us of the jinn that they once ascended to the heavens and eavesdropped upon the celestial assembly until the heavens were barred to them. And we used to sit therein in positions for hearing, but whoever listens now will find a burning flame lying in wait for him. How could the jinn ascend into boundless space until reaching the heavens, no matter their speed or strength? Not because they listen from clouds, as some have imagined, but because the heavens are near, and the cosmos is naught but an earth magnified by God as mankind's cradle. In it you will live, and in it you will die, and from it you will be brought forth. Then, above it all, heaven sealed with a guarded roof. O assembly of jinn and men, if you are able to pass beyond the regions of the heavens and the earth, then pass. You will not pass except by authority. Once more, the error into which Muslim scholars have stumbled and still stumble is their attempt to bend religion to accord with science, with those deceptions wrought by devils. Thus, when NASA exhibits a close image of the moon's surface, appearing scarred by ancient rupture, we hasten to exclaim in triumph that the Quran has been vindicated in its account of the moon splitting. Does the Quran require such an image for us to believe in it? Is the Almighty, who split the moon, incapable of restoring it to its original form? They explain it as though a contractor had merely split a wall and then repaired it. How do we come to believe their fables? How do we accept a false history that claims the ape was the first man and that we evolved simply because nature decided so in a kind of electoral process? Or at the very least, how do we come to believe that this vast universe, with all it contains and all who dwell within it, moves aimlessly without a precise plan or careful design, or that it was created in vain, while God declares, "We did not create the heavens and the earth and all that is between them in play"? How do we come to believe in the existence of astronauts? What if one of them were to die in space? In that case, would the Quran be false? Exalted is God, far above such a notion. God has told us clearly and unequivocally that we live upon an outstretched earth. Yet our minds were blinded, seduced by the sciences of Satan, until some among us came to revere them with blind devotion. This reveals how the devil succeeded in imprisoning human consciousness in cages adorned with glittering names, confining it to the material world alone. And while the awakened struggle with all their strength, their most difficult task remains persuading the sleepers that they are indeed asleep, convincing the captive, born in captivity, that beyond his cell lie vast worlds, convincing parrots that within their heads rests a mind meant to be used to perceive truth, rather than slavishly echoing the words of the priests of atheism and the soldiers of Satan. And when it is said to him, "Fear God," pride and sin takes hold of him. The Quran guides us with utmost clarity to the reality of the earth, so that we may be freed from this small ring in the long chain of deception. God says, "And after that he spread the earth." That is, he extended and leveled it. And he says, "And the earth we have spread out." And who made for you the earth a carpet? And to the earth how it is spread out. It is not true that God used such expressions merely to approximate meaning for the Bedouins among whom the Quran was revealed, for the Quran was sent down for all times and places. Nor is it correct that the words spread, level, extend, and flatten refer only to the visible portion of the earth. For just 2 verses before the one about its flattening, the Quran speaks of the entirety of the heavens, and to the heaven, how it is raised. Why, then, would the Creator speak of only a portion of the earth, in contrast to the whole of the heavens? And why would he magnify it with such exaltation if it were but a mere planet among countless billions like it? The Quranic proofs are abundant, for whoever has a heart or lends an ear while witnessing. All point to the reality that we do not dwell upon that sphere they deceived us with, invented to uphold the Big Bang Theory, the theory of evolution, and other doctrines serving a single end. The central aim, to obscure the truth of the earth, to proclaim that there is no God, and that all came by chance. Nay, we hurl the truth against falsehood, and it crushes it, so it vanishes. And woe to you for what you ascribe. God has spoken the truth. Satan and his hosts and followers have lied.